What's good, y'all? Y'all know what it is. Philan Speaks back. Another video, man. As we still are in celebration mode here in Philadelphia, preparing for this parade, man. I just saw Jalen Hurts earlier today on CBS Morning. Last night he was on Jimmy Fallon's show. Just making the rounds, man. The victory tour all over the place, man. And I just can't express, how, proud I am of this brother, man, of this boy, man. Where he came from and what he been through the criticism and everything, man, to see him, getting some flowers, and it's still early, man. We just in the beginning, because he's in the perfect storm. He's the right guy for the right organization. And I was having this conversation with a group of brothers, man, on the day of the Super Bowl. And, many of them out there, man, a lot of people, they believe, there's so many quarterbacks that are better, refuse to put him up there. And I believe it's because people aren't analyzing the quarterback position properly. And this is nothing new. In the 70s, Bradshaw was the quarterback of the 70s, but people won't say that. They'll tell you it's Roger Staubach. You'll have some people try to argue that Fran Tarkenton is better than Bradshaw, and all types of stuff, because people are looking at other things, maybe entertainment or something like that. They're not looking at the guy that wins, or they're making excuses because he has the defense and all of this. Well, did not Fran Tarkenton, I'm just giving an example, have the Purple People Eaters, for example, right? Did not Staubach have doomsday defense? You know what I mean? Did he not have Tony Dorsett and all of this? It goes on. Same with Joe Montana. There's people that I know to this day who will tell me John Elway was better than Joe Montana. And I love both of those guys, Montana and Elway, Montana's a system guy. Elway is a stronger arm. He's bigger, all this kind of stuff. So it's really nothing new. And to me, it was very poetic that Terry Bradshaw was the guy that he's the guy to announce, to Hurts that he's the MVP and all of that. And you see the amount of respect Bradshaw has for him, because Bradshaw sees, in Jalen Hurts, somebody that's going through a lot of what he went through, the type of criticism and nonsense that people, who think other things outside of winning matters, say. Now, what prompted me to talk about this was Patrick Mahomes, man, the great Patrick Mahomes. I know he had a rough one that night, but what I'm not going to do, and what we're not going to do around here, is act as if he's still not that guy. We're not going to act like he's still not the dude with 3 rings. He's still not the guy that, at least in his generation, that the other guys gotta catch. That the Lamars, who some are arguing is on his level or better than him, gotta catch. Or the Josh Allens or the Joe Burrows, and, whatever guy, you want. Now, what's interesting about it is, I was listening to when, in the post game, when Patrick Mahomes was asked about Jalen Hurts and everything, man. And, that dude, I respect that guy because he's a class act, man. He wasn't up there acting salty, none of that, man. Patrick Mahomes has respect for Jalen Hurts, and he showed it 2 years ago after that game when he won it. Now, at that time, when, he was saying, because 2 years ago, when the Eagles lost to the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, he said a lot of good things about Jalen Hurts, man. He praised him. He said that, if he had any doubters, he shouldn't have any more. This is Patrick Mahomes. This is the best guy, in the league right now, at the quarterback position, saying that. And that holds no weight with a lot of people, which is ridiculous. But because real recognize real. And, who are you to, you know what I mean? Now, at the time, I didn't know how to take it, because in human nature, when you win a game and you're the winner, it's easy to praise the opponent that you just defeated. You know what I mean? It's easy to be like, oh, yeah, he's good, this and that, right? And sometimes it's coming from a place of bad intention. In other words, sometimes a winner will praise his opponent just so it'll make him look like what he accomplished was great. You know what I mean? Because if you beat up a guy that isn't good, then it's like it lessens your accomplishment. But so I didn't know how to take it back then. But now Patrick Mahomes again, when he's asked about him, and he said, I said it 2 years ago, you have to figure out how to win with the team that's around you. These are Patrick Mahomes' words. And he said that, this is what I've been trying to figure, this is what I've been figuring out, and Jalen Hurts has figured that out. That's what he's done. And he said he knew he would see Hurts again. He could just cause real recognize real. And that's what a lot of y'all don't understand. And this is the thing here. Patrick Mahomes has been seen pretty much as like by a lot of prognosticators and talking heads as being a guy that's on his own plateau, and then everybody else has to catch up and all of that. And even if you want to go with that narrative, the reality is, the guy has a rival now. And what a lot of the people don't want to accept is that his rival is the guy that, it isn't Josh Allen. It isn't Lamar Jackson. It isn't Joe Burrow. It was Joe Burrow for a time because Joe was able to beat him. You know what I mean? But since then, Joe just hasn't, either whether it's because he hasn't had the team or whatever the reason is, he hasn't lived up to that since, beating him, 3 years ago. So, the reality is Patrick Mahomes' rival in this era right now is Jalen Hurts. Now, a lot of y'all don't want to accept that because in your mind, his rival's supposed to look like something else. And what I'm saying to y'all is that this is just a repeat of the same thing that happens pretty much every era. Like I said, Terry Bradshaw was disrespected in the 70s. Joe Montana was disrespected in the 80s. People were saying Marino's better. People were saying, Elway is better. And Tom Brady was disrespected in the 2000s and the 2010s. During Tom Brady's first three runs, Peyton Manning was better, according to everybody. Brett Favre was better, according to everybody. If you go back to really 2000, because I remember, lived through all this stuff. If you go back to 01 and 02 and all of that, Tom Brady was not seen as the great quarterback. He was seen as a guy that's being carried by the defense, and Corey Dillon early on and players around him, because he wasn't putting up the gaudy stats. They were playing just great football, under the leadership of Bill Belichick and Romeo Crennel and all those great coaches. So he was disrespected. During his second tenure, Aaron Rodgers was supposedly better than him, because he got more talent. People like the way he throws a sidearm ball and all this stuff that I think is stupid, but these are the things that a lot of people like. And now what you're finding, whether you like it or not, the guy that's rivaling Patrick Mahomes, and I don't care what your reasoning is, if you believe that anybody could just lead this Eagles team and do the same thing Hurts, what does that fucking matter? The truth is, what's happening is what's happening. I don't live in, and I think it's sad when people like you live in a hypothetical world, or you just live in this make-believe scenario. No, the reality is, Jalen Hurts is the guy who has met him twice in the Super Bowl, came away with one victory, and played him to a standstill in the other. Okay? And Patrick Mahomes himself said, back then, he said, I know I'm going to see this guy again. We'll go at it again later, because real recognize real. Patrick Mahomes is able to look at him and see something that a lot of y'all don't see, because y'all see stupid shit. That's what y'all see. Somebody got to be the most electrifying man in sports entertainment and all that. Y'all watching a little bit too much WWE and not understanding the difference between things that are actual concrete and actual, real, and things that are just foolishness based on what you believe and think how things should be, And that's just the bottom line, man. Right now, as it stands, until someone else steps up, one of these guys y'all believe in and believe that's all of that steps up, the rivalry right now, at the quarterback position, and far as teams go, the two organizations that are clashing, similar to the Cowboys and the Steelers of the 70s, okay? The rivalry now is the Chiefs and the Eagles, and the rival of Patrick Mahomes is none other than your MVP of the Super Bowl 59, Jalen Hurts. Thank you very much.